Hi everyone, this is Raja from Charger Games and welcome back to this video. So in this video we're going to build a simple cool little Android game and we're going to learn how to build simple Android games from start to finish. So here let's go and check out the game that you're going to build. So as you can see here I have the game and here I have the device simulator opened. So it's showing us how it's going to look in a real mobile device. So I'm going to click on play. And now as you can see, this is the game. Here we are playing as a rabbit and here we have some carrots that we're going to collect, and here we have a joystick on screen and we can control our player by moving the joystick. So as you can see, if I move the joystick and collect the carrots one by one, the carrots will be disappeared, and the game also has a boundary, so you cannot go beyond that boundary. As you can see, this is the boundary. I cannot move beyond that. And now I'm gonna go ahead and collect the carrots one by one, and slowly my score will increase, and as soon as I collect all the carrots I will win the game. So I think I have one more carrot left, so let's go and collect that. So as you can see, as soon as I collect all the carrots, you win message is printed, and this is the simple game that you're gonna build. This is great for beginners to learn, or if you are new to Unity, it's great to brush up your skills and build a simple cool Android game start to finish. So I hope you're really excited to build this game with me. So with that being said, let's get started. So in order to download Unity, you can go to this unity.com/download, or you can go to Google and simply search for download Unity and simply go to the first link, and from there you can download Unity. So from here you need to create an account. If you don't have a Unity account before, you need that account for downloading and also for getting your license. And from there you can get a free Unity license. Then you can simply go ahead and download for Windows or Mac, and after that you need to install the Unity Hub. So once you have done that, the Unity Hub will be installed. Once you have installed the Unity Hub, simply go ahead and launch it. As you can see here, I have the Unity Hub installed and launched, and this is the new Unity Hub. So from there you need to go to this Installs tab, and here you will have all the versions of Unity that are installed on your computer. So from there you need to go to this Install Editor tab, and here you will see all the versions of Unity that are available to install. Here as you can see, something called LTS or long-term support. So if you are building a long project, then you need to use some of these versions that will be available for a long time and they will be supported by Unity for long. Otherwise you can use the latest released version here, or you can go to this pre-release and from here install the latest beta versions. So as you can see here, from here you can install the latest beta version. So you can go ahead and click on install, and now here you need to install the components that are required for your game. So Visual Studio is really required because that's what we're going to use for coding our games. As you can see, in my case this has been already installed, that is why I don't have to check anything here, but in your case you need to check it here. Then if you want to build your games for Android, then you need to check this Android build support and make sure that OpenJDK, Android SDK, NDK tools, all these things are also checked. If you want to build for iOS, then you can simply click on this iOS build. If you want to build for WebGL, then you need to check this WebGL build support as well. Alright, so once you have done that, simply click on continue and then these things will be installed. Also, another thing you need to check is that from here, if you click on these settings, from here you can actually check where your installs are saved. As you can see inside this installs tab, here you can choose where all your Unity installs will be saved. So from here you can change the location. So once you have done that, Unity will be installed and then you are finally ready to start your new project. So this way you can go ahead and download Unity and then we are ready to start building games. So here I have opened up Unity Hub and let's go and start creating our new project. So from here I'm going to go ahead and click on new project, and then I'm going to select the latest editor version that I have. Now from the templates I'm going to go ahead and choose this 2D core. Okay, so we're not going to select any other thing, just choose 2D core because we're going to build a 2D game and later we're going to convert it to mobile. And then here I'm going to choose the location where I'm going to save my project, and I'm going to name this, give this a name. So let's say carrot collector or something like that. Okay, and then I'm going to choose the location where I'm going to save this project. So in my case I'm going to choose it inside my C projects Unity. Okay, all right, so this is the folder where I'm going to save it, and now I'm going to go ahead and click on create project and it will create a new project for me. So let's go and create project and wait for Unity to create a new project for us. Alright, so as you can see now here we have a new empty 2D Unity project opened. So first of all, you need to make sure that you are in the 2x3 layout. From the top right corner, you can select this. So I prefer this layout, so I'm going to select this one. Now we need to change the platform to Android so that we can build it for Android. So you can go to File, Build Settings, click on Android, and then click on Switch Platform. Okay. Now, if you don't want to build this game for Android, then this is going to work on other platforms as well. So if this is not working in your case, you can simply go ahead and continue the video, and later on you can switch it to Android. Okay. Alright, so now as you can see, the Unity icon is beside the Android. That means now our current platform is set to Android. Okay. So now let's go ahead and start building our game. So first of all, as you can see here, free aspect is written. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and select this 16:9 landscape because this is the resolution on which we're going to build this game. If you want, you can also choose this 16:9 portrait. This is going to work here as well. So, but I'm going to select landscape for now. Okay. Now I'm going to go to the assets folder, and as you can see here inside the scenes, we already have a scene created. So I'm going to go ahead and actually rename this scene and name this to game. Okay. Now inside the assets folder, I'm going to go ahead and right click and create a new folder. I'm going to name this one sprites. So here we will have all our sprites. Then I'm going to create another new folder. I'm going to name this one scripts. Here we will have all our scripts. And then I'm going to go inside the sprites folder, and here we're going to import all the assets that you're going to use for this game. Now, if you want, you can download these assets from anywhere on the internet, and I have downloaded some of the assets for free. So as you can see here, we have some free assets. These are downloaded from the kenny.nl website. You can go ahead and download them from anywhere. And this uWin text I have created by myself, and this carrot is downloaded from the flaticon.com. So you can go ahead and download them from anywhere or use any other asset that you want to. So I'm going to go ahead and select all of them and then drag and drop them inside the sprites folder to import them. So as you can see, now we have all of our sprites imported in the project. Now I'm going to expand this game scene, select the main camera, and from the clear flags, make sure solid color is selected. And from the background color, I'm going to give it a green like color because we are building a ground. We're going to add the ground, but before that, we're going to also make sure that we're going to give a color to the ground. Now we're going to also add this leaves tile to make it look like a ground. So let's go and drag and drop the leaf tile to our scene right here. And as you can see here, we have the leaves tile. Okay. And this is small, as you can see, because this is a tile. So we need to make it bigger to make sure that our whole ground is filled up. In order to do that, while selecting the leaves from the sprite renderer, as you can see here, we have the draw mode selected to simple. So what you can do is you can go ahead and change it to tiled. So once you have selected tiled, now as you can see, it is showing the width and height. Now I can simply drag this and make any long tile that I want. So make sure you have this rect tool selected. And now if you drag it, as you can see, now it is expanding just like a tile on every direction. Okay, so this way, as you can see, I can create this big ground of us. Now this white area is our camera view. So this is the part where the game will be shown. Others will be extra. So I'm going to make it a bit bigger because we're going to keep our carrots scattered all over the game so that our player has to work a little bit to make sure he collects all the carrots. Okay, so once our ground is ready, now let's go ahead and add our player. So I'm going to go ahead and select the player rabbit and drag it here. And as you can see here, we have our rabbit. So now, as you can see, the rabbit is a little bit bigger. So what you can do is you can either select the scale tool and make it smaller, or you can select the rabbit, go to the pixels per units. And from here, I'm going to change it to 500 and then click on apply. And as you can see, now it has become small automatically. So you can either do it from there or you can do it from here as well. I think I'm going to make it about 400 will be good. Alright, so now I've set the pixels per unit to 400 and now it is at the correct size. You can also change the max size to about 256 because we don't need a larger sprite. So we're going to make it smaller and then click on apply as well. Now these are optional steps. You can do it or you can skip it. You can also change the sprite's size directly by changing the scale or by using the rect selection tool. So now that we have the rabbit, as you can see, I can double click to zoom into the rabbit. And as you can see, this is the rabbit. This is how it looks like. Now we're going to go to add component, physics 2D, and we're going to add a rigid body 2D component to it. So let's go ahead and add a rigid body 2D. Okay, so now here we have a rigid body 2D. Now we're going to change the gravity scale to 0 because we don't need a gravity here. So let's go and change it to 0. And then we're going to go to add component, physics 2D, and from here we're going to go ahead and add a box collider 2D component. Okay, so if you find, as you can see here, we have a box collider 2D. So just by using this box collider 2D, now it has a collider and now it can collide with any other objects in the scene. If we have some carrots in the scene, of course it should be collided with the carrots, only then it will detect the carrots and it will collect them. So that is why it should need a collider. Okay, and the rigid body is part of Unity's physics engine. So now without a rigid body, the collider will not work. So you should have at least one rigid body in the scene in order to make the collision work. Alright, so now here we have the rigid body 2D, and make sure the gravity scale is 0, otherwise the rabbit will fall down. We don't want that. And here we have a box collider, and as you can see here, the collider is nicely added to it, so we don't need to make any more changes here. Okay, so now that we have the rabbit right here, it's time to add our carrot. So let's go ahead and add the carrot. So as you can see here of the carrot, let's go and drag and drop it in the scene. And as you can see, it's pretty big and huge. Okay, so what you can do is you can select the carrot and you can go to the pixels per units and change it to about, let's say 500, and change the max size to 256 and click on apply, and you will see here we have the carrot, and actually it has gone beyond this ground. And that is because all of our sprites are on the same level. So what you can do is you can select this leaves, and as you can see, this origin layer is set to 0. So what you can do is set the origin layer to -5 because our ground will be beyond all of our objects. So our rabbit is at 0, our carrot is at 0, and our ground is at -5. That means our ground will always be behind all these objects. Okay, so with that done, now I'm going to select the carrot, and if you want, you can make it a little more smaller, or you can simply keep it like this. Now we need to add some collider to the carrot. So you can simply rotate your mouse wheel to zoom in to see how things are looking. So I can select the carrot, go to add component, go to physics 2D, and from here I'm going to add a circle collider 2D to it. And I think circle collider 2D should be good for this carrot. So if you want, you can also change the size a little bit, change the radius a little bit so that we can make it a little bit smaller. You can also add a capsule collider 2D, but I don't want to add that here. I'm just simply want to add a circle collider 2D of this size, and this should be good for now. Okay, so now that here we have this carrot, we have the rabbit, we have the leaves, everything is added already. Now another thing we're going to do is we're going to select our carrot, go to tag, go to add tag, click on plus sign, and here we're going to add a new tag. Let's say we add the tag of CARROT carrot, and here I have made the C capital. And make sure you do that as well, or whatever you write here, make sure you remember that, because it is going to be very, very essential while you write some code. So now that we have added the tag, we're going to select the carrot, go to tag and select carrot. And now we have the carrot tag attached to the carrot, and it will be really useful for us when we actually write the code for the player. Okay, so now we have the ground, the carrot, and the player ready. So now we need to add some movements to the player. Now in this case, since we are building it for mobile, we can add some touch inputs, but here we're going to use a joystick to give some input to the player. So what I can do is I think I'm going to make the rabbit a little bit bigger, like bigger than this, because that might be good. So I think something like this should be okay. Okay, so now here we have the rabbit, carrot, and ground. So let's go and add a joystick. Now you can go ahead and add any other joystick that you want. You can use any free joystick that is available from anywhere. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the Unity Asset Store, and from there I can download a free available joystick, and that's what I'm going to use in this game. So you can go to Window, and from here you can simply click on Asset Store, and as you can see, it will open up the Asset Store. You can also go to assetstore.unity.com, and from there you can download this as well. Now make sure you have an account here, otherwise you cannot download anything. So make sure you create an account an Unity account and log into the asset store. Then here you can simply search for joystick and make sure you choose the free joystick. And as you can see here, it is called joystick pack. This is the free joystick available. There are other joysticks available as well. You can go ahead and select the pricing to free assets, and then you can choose from other joysticks as well. But I'm going to go ahead and select this joystick, which is the joystick pack, which is completely free to use. So thank you so much, its creator Phenarux Studios, for creating this joystick pack for us. So once you are inside this joystick pack, make sure to download it, and then you can simply click on open in Unity. So once you click on open in Unity, it will say open Unity editor, and then it will show up in the package manager. Okay, so once you click on open in Unity, it will show up in the package manager, and from the package manager you need to go ahead and download it. So as you can see here, it is asking me to re-download because previously I have downloaded it for another project. So for this project, joystick pack select, click on re-download or download in your case, and it will download it. And once it's downloaded, now it's time to get imported. So in my case, it has been already downloaded. So I'm going to go ahead and click on import, and then it will import it. So click on import. And now as you can see here, we have the whole joystick pack. And here we also have some examples that you can check a look at, but you can also go ahead and skip this as well. So I'm going to go ahead and click on import to import all the things, and slowly Unity will import the whole joystick pack. Alright, so our whole joystick pack has been imported. Let's go and close the window. Close the window, and as you can see here inside the assets, we have this joystick pack now, inside which we have these prefabs, scripts and sprites and all those things. So before we can use the joystick packs, what we need to do is we need to add a canvas, because these joysticks are part of a canvas. Okay, so here we're gonna go to this here, click on UI, and from here go ahead and create a new canvas. Okay, so as you can see here, we have a canvas created, and along with that we have an event system created as well. Because we don't want it to be built for only one screen size, we want it to build for all the screen sizes so that it automatically gets scaled up for different screen sizes. So canvas scaler, scale with screen size, set the reference resolution to 1920, and then click on match value to 0.5 so that it automatically matches with the width and height in the same way. Okay, so now that we have the canvas created, now we're gonna go inside the joystick pack, go inside the prefabs, and from the prefabs, as you can see here, we have some dynamic joysticks, fixed joysticks, floating joysticks, variable joysticks. So you can go ahead and use any other joystick that you want to. I'm going to go ahead and drag this fixed joystick right over the canvas right here. And as you can see, as soon as I do it, automatically a new joystick has been created. Okay, so if you want, you can simply go ahead and change its size and change it to any other value that you want to, but I think this looks cool for now. So here we have our fixed joystick. Okay, so now that we have our joystick done, let's go and create a new script and add some player controls so that we can move the player. So inside our scripts folder, inside our own scripts folder, I'm going to right click and I'm going to create a new C# script, and I'm going to name this one simply player, because we need only one script in this game. We don't need any more. Alright, so now that we have the player script created, let's go and select the rabbit, and I'm going to drag and drop the player script over the rabbit right here. So here we have the player script. Now I'm going to double click to open up the player script. So let's go ahead and double click and open it up in Visual Studio. Alright, so here we have our script opened. So first of all, we will need some variables. So let's go ahead and create some of our variables. So first of all, we'll need a reference to the fixed joystick that we have in the scene. So here we're going to say public fixed joystick, joystick. So this is a variable that will hold the reference to our joystick so that we can take the input or take the movement input from the joystick. So this joystick variable will hold a reference to the fixed joystick that we have in the scene, and then we can get the input from the joystick, and according to that we're going to move our player. So after that we'll need another variable which will be public float move speed. So this will be the speed by which we can actually move our player. Then we will need two more variables which will be float v input, float h input and v input. So this h input and v input will hold how much value we are getting from the joystick. So let's say I am moving my joystick left and right. So in that case, the left and right movement or the horizontal movement will be stored inside this h input. And if I'm moving my joystick up and down, in that case, the vertical movement will be stored inside this V input. Okay. So this way we will get the H input and V input. And according to that, we're going to move our player in the horizontal X axis or in the vertical Y axis. Okay. So with that done, now we're going to go ahead and go to our fixed update function. So here we're going to create our fixed update function. So void fixed update. And inside the fixed update function, first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to take our H input. So we're going to say H input equals joystick dot horizontal. Okay. So what this will do is this will give us whatever input we are getting from the horizontal movement of our joystick. That is the left and right movement of our joystick. Okay. And then we're going to simply multiply it with the move speed. And that's it. And the same way we need to say V input equals joystick dot vertical star. That means multiply it with move speed. And that's it. This way we have got the H input and V input as well. So now all we need to do is we need to simply move our player according to this H and V input, and then our player will be moving. So in order to do that, we're going to use a function called transform.translate. So you're going to write transform.translate, translate, and for the X position or for the X value, we're going to say H input. For the Y value, we're going to say V input. And for the Z value, we're going to input 0 because this is a 2D game. So we don't have a Z axis. We only want to move our player in the X and Y axis. That is why for the X value, we can have given the H input. For the Y value, we have given the V input. And for the Z, we have given 0. So now that we have done this, if everything goes right, this should be able to move our player easily left and right, up and down. So let's go and save the code and see how this is working. So let's go and save the code and go back to Unity. Alright, so we are back inside Unity. Let's select the rabbit, and as you can see here, it is waiting for a move speed value, and it is also waiting for a reference to the joystick. So I'm going to drag and drop this fixed joystick right inside this joystick. So this is very important, otherwise it will not have access to the joystick and it will never know from where it will get the horizontal and vertical inputs. Then we need to give a move speed. So for now I'm giving a very low value, let's say 0.5. I think I need to lower the value even after that, but for now let's check it with 0.5. So now if I click on play, let's see if I move my joystick, and as you can see, if I move my joystick left and right, our player moves left and right. If I move it up and down, our player moves up and down. So things are working pretty fine for now. Okay, so as I can see, things are working pretty fine and it looks pretty cool. All right, so now with that done, so currently as you can see, sometimes the rabbit is probably rotating while colliding with the carrot. So in order to solve this, what you can do is you can go to these constraints and from here click on freeze rotation to Z. So now our rabbit will never rotate around Z. So let's go and click on play, and now as you can see, I can move my rabbit left and right, up and down, and I can collide with the carrot and nothing happens. So if you want, you can simply go ahead and move with this value, or if you want, you can also change the value and make it much smaller. Let's say in this case I'm gonna make it about 0.08 or something like that. And now if I click on play, now you will see it moves much slower. So if you want a behavior like that, you can go ahead and do that, or if you want a faster behavior, you can do it as well. So I think I'm going to keep it like this. And so now our rabbit is moving, our player is moving, and as you can see here we have our ground. And now if I go ahead and select my rabbit, and I can simply go ahead and drag and drop my main camera over the rabbit. So I have dragged and dropped my main camera over the rabbit. So now the main camera is a child of this rabbit. So now wherever the rabbit will move, the main camera will move along with it as well. So now wherever the rabbit goes, the main camera will move along with it as well. So let me go ahead and press Ctrl Z and undo this to show you why do I need this. So let's say here we have one carrot. So I'm going to select this carrot and right click and duplicate this. And this time I'm going to select the move tool and move this carrot out of our boundary somewhere like this. Then I'm going to select this carrot and move it somewhere like this. And then I'm going to select this carrot, then duplicate it, move it somewhere like this. So now I have 4. Let's click on duplicate and move this as well here. So now we have 5 different carrots in the scene, and this is our camera view. So now whenever the player will move and go out of the camera view, we cannot see the player in the game because the game will only see whatever the camera sees. So now if I click on play and try to collect this carrot, so if I go here over, as you can see, I'm going to collect the carrot, but I cannot see the player in the game. So that is why we need to make the camera follow our player. So the easiest way to do that is to make the camera a child of our player so that our camera will always move with the player. So now I'm going to select the camera and drag and drop it over the rabbit. So now as you can see, this main camera is now a child of this rabbit. So now if I click on play, now we'll see wherever I move, the camera automatically moves and I can collect any carrot that I want to. But in this way, we also don't want to move beyond our boundaries. So we're going to go ahead and create some boundaries so that our player can never move beyond that boundary. Okay, so let's see how we can do that. So to create boundaries, there are different ways by which you can create boundaries. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and create them the simplest way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here and click on create empty game object, and let's name it to bound1. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and reset its position. Then I'm going to go to add component, physics 2D, and I'm going to add a box collider 2D. So as you can see here, we have a green collider. Now I'm going to change the X size and make it much larger, something like this. Then I'm going to drag it and move it somewhere like this. So now we have a collider here. That means our player will not be able to move beyond this boundary. Now I'm going to duplicate this one, and this time instead of 13.17 as its Y value, just put a negative sign, just put a minus in front of it. And now as you can see, it automatically moves to the opposite side. So now we have bound 1 here and bound 2 here. So the same way, we're going to create two more boundaries. So I'm going to go ahead and create another new empty game object, and I'm going to name this one bound 3. And this time again, I'm going to reset its position, add component, physics 2D, and I'm going to add a box collider 2D. And this time I'm going to change the Y size to something bigger, something like this. And then I'm going to move it to somewhere like this. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this one as well. And this time simply go ahead and remove the minus sign. So now as you can see here, we have a bound 1, bound, let's name it to bound 2. Let's go ahead and rename it to bound 2. This one will be bound 3. And this one, let's rename it to bound 4. Okay. So this way we have all of our boundaries right here. And I can create another empty game object. I can name it boundaries, and simply select all the boundaries by pressing the shift key and drag and drop them under the boundaries. So now we have all the boundaries under this boundaries game object. So now that we have the boundaries, our player will not be able to move beyond these boundaries. Okay. So now all we need to do is we need to detect the collision. So whenever our player is colliding with the carrots, we need to detect a collision, and then we need to destroy that carrot. And after destroying the carrot, we need to increment our player's score, and then we need to check how many carrots if we have in our scene. Let's say here we have 5 carrots. So if our player has more than 5 score, that means it has already collected 5 carrots, then our player will win the game. Alright, so it's as simple as that. So let's go to our player controller and see what can be done. Alright, so let's go and open up our player controller one more time. So here we have our player controller script. So now here what we need to do is, here we need to detect for collision. So here what we're going to do is we're going to create a void on collision enter 2D function. So this function gets called automatically whenever our player gets collided with any other game object. And inside this collision variable, we have all the information about the collision. So we're going to check if the collided game object has a carrot tag attached. That means we have collided with a carrot, and in that case we're going to destroy the carrot, increment the score, and check if the player has won the game. So we're going to detect if collision.gameObject.tag equals carrot, and here as you can see the C is capital, and that is because we have written C capital in our tag as well. So whatever spelling you have written in your tag, that should be the same here as well, otherwise it's not going to work. So once we detect whether we have collided with the carrot or not, we're going to go ahead and destroy the carrot game object. And for that, we're going to write destroy collision dot game object. Okay, so whenever we collide with the carrot, we're going to go ahead and destroy the carrot game object. And before destroying the carrot game object, what we can do is we can simply go ahead and increment the score. So for that, here we're going to create two new variables. One will be int score, and it will be 0 by default. And then we're going to create another game object, which will be public game object, and it will be our win text. Okay. So by default, this win text will be disabled, and whenever our player wins the game, this win text will be shown on the screen so that we can see if we have won the game. Okay, so every time the player touches the carrot, we're gonna say score plus plus. That pretty much means we are incrementing the score. So if the score is 0, it will be 1. If it is 1, it will be 2. And this way our scores will be incremented. After that, we will destroy the carrot. And then we're gonna check if our score is more than the winning score. So in this case, we have 5 carrots in the scene. So that means to win the game, we need to have 5 score. So here we're going to create another public public int win score variable. Okay, so if our score is more than the win score, then we're gonna go ahead and say you win. So here we're gonna check if score is greater than equal win score. If our score is greater than or equal to win score, then we're gonna do all the winning conditions. So then we're gonna say win text dot set active to true. Okay, so let me go ahead and try to explain it to you one more time. So what we are doing here is we are giving a win score value. So let's say here we have 5 carrots. So for each carrot we'll have 1 score. So first one, so when we collect the first one, we get score 1, second 2, third 3, fourth 4, fifth 5. So when we have collected all the 5 carrots, we will get 5 score. So in this case, the value of our win score is 5. So when our scores value is more than 5, that is more than our win score, then we're gonna display the win text on the screen. On the screen, we're gonna say you won because you have collected all the 5 coins. Okay, so that is what we are doing here. So when we are colliding with the carrot, we are incrementing the score, destroying the carrot, checking the score, and then we are displaying if we have won the game or not. So now our whole code is ready. Let's go and save this and go back to Unity and do all the necessary changes. So now let's go and save it, go back to Unity. Okay, so now here if you select the rabbit, as you can see here, it is waiting for a win score, which is currently 0. So let's go and set the win score to 5 for now. Not 8, let's set it to 5 because we have 5 carrots in the scene. And for the win text, we're gonna create it later. For now, just let's go and check if the carrots are destroying or not and if it is working or not. So let's go and click on play and try collecting the carrots. So here we have the first one, so let's go and collect it. So first one, as you can see, whenever we collect it, it automatically gets destroyed. If we collect the second one, it gets destroyed. And if we try to move beyond the boundaries, as you can see, I cannot move beyond the boundaries. So if I collect the third one, so our score is now 3, collect the fourth one, our score is now 4, so we have only 1 carrot left. So let's go and actually collect the last carrot. As you can see, as soon as I collect it, we are getting an error which says the variable win text has not been assigned. And that is because we have won the game, and whenever we win the game, a win text should be displayed, but here we don't have a win text because we have not created it yet. So let's go and create the win text. So on our canvas, I'm gonna right click, go to UI and create a new image. So here, as you can see, here we have an image. Let's name it win. And now, as you can see here, it is saying source image none because we don't have any sprite attached. So in my sprites folder, I have this win text. You can download any other win text message from the internet, or you can create it by yourself and then drag and drop it inside this source image. So now, as you can see here, the win written, which is very small. Now we need to simply click on this set native size. So as soon as I click on it, as you can see, now it is showing pretty big. So now I can go ahead and double click it, select the rect tool, press the shift key and make the win text much bigger, and then put it in the center just like this. Okay, so now whenever you will win the game, this win text will be displayed. And now that we have this win text created, now let's select the rabbit, and here it is waiting for the win text. So let's drag and drop this win right here. So now all the boxes have been checked, the player script is attached, the fixed joystick has been attached, the move speed has been assigned, the win text has been given, and the win score 5 has been created. Now let's select the win and disable it by default, because by default we don't want to win the game, of course, we want to play to win the game. So now whenever we drag it, we collect all the carrots, our player will win the game. So let's go and click on play, and let's make the game more exciting. So let's go and select the first carrot, and let's go find the other ones. So here we have the second one. Let's go and find the last 3 carrots. So here this is. So we have 2 more left. So let's go and try to find this one. And I think I have 1 more left. Let's go and find. As you can see, whenever I collect all the carrots, it says you win text. That means we have won the game. So this game is pretty good. So here we have learned how to detect collisions, how to move joystick, how to move your player with joystick, how to display text, how to activate and deactivate objects, and all these things. So with that done, now let's go ahead and make it a little more interesting. So what you can do is you can select the carrots, and as you can see, you can go ahead and change their positions to make their game more interesting or hard for your player. So I'm going to select the first carrot and move it somewhere like this. And you can move ahead and move these carrots as well, and you can also duplicate and create some more carrots. But whenever you create some more carrots, you need to make sure you change the win score. Okay, so let's go and create another carrot. Let's go and duplicate 1 more carrot. So I'm going to go ahead and duplicate it, and this time I'm going to move it somewhere like this. And now I'm going to select my rabbit and change the win score to 6, because now we have 6 carrots. Okay, so whenever you add more carrots, make sure you change the win score. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and select the canvas, select the fixed joystick, and as you can see here we have the joystick image. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it a little bit transparent to make it look a little more professional. As you can see, currently it is showing a flat white color, which I don't like. So I can go to this fixed joystick, go to this color, and from the alpha value I can make it down. So let's go and make it about 50%. And the same way I can expand it, select the handle, go to the color, and here as well I'm going to select the alpha and change it to about 50%. Change it to about 50%, something like that. And if you want, you can also make it a little bit bigger. Let's say 60. I think 60 or 70 or 80. I think something like that should be good as well. So let's make it about 70. Okay, so here we have the 70%. Select the fixed joystick and set the alpha to 70% here as well. And now I think it looks pretty cool. Okay, so now we have all these things. Now our game is ready. So now let's go ahead and finally test it on a mobile simulator. So I'm going to go to this window, go to general, and go to device simulator. And as you can see here, we have the device simulator open, and for now, as you can see, it is showing an iPad. So you can go ahead and test it here as well. But I'm going to go ahead and select a Google Pixel 5, which is an Android device. And then from here, I'm going to select here and rotate this device. If you click on this option, as you can see, the device will be rotated. And now I can finally play the game and test the game. Okay, so now let's go ahead and click on play. And now as you can see, I can select this window and our game is running on a mobile device simulator. So let's go ahead and collect the carrots one by one. First one done. The second one we are going. The third one, here it is. And we have 3 more left. So here we have 1 more. So the 4th one. Here we have the 5th one, and we have 1 more. I don't know where that is. Let's go and find the carrot. Here we have the last one. Let's go and collect it. And as you can see, as soon as I collected, you win text is displayed. So we have won the game. All right. So this way we have created a completely working game which will work on any mobile device. And here you have learned so many different concepts in this short time just by building this simple game. You have learned how to create sprites, how to add 2D rigid body components, how to add colliders, how to detect collisions, how to add a joystick, how to display text on screen, how to create a canvas, and all these concepts. So with that being said, I hope you really enjoyed this video and learned a lot of new concepts. Go ahead and build this game and show it to your friends and family. So if you have enjoyed this video and you want to learn how to build some more cool games, you can check out my Android game development courses. All the course links have been given in the description of this video. So you can go to the description, take the courses, build all the games, and show it to your friends and family, publish it to Google Play, and become a better developer. So thank you so much for watching. This is Raja, and I'm going to see you in another video very soon. Hi, this is Raja from Charger Games, and welcome to this video. So in this video, we're going to learn how to build a simple, cool little balloon popper game. So before we get started, let's take a look at what kind of game we're going to build. So here, as you can see, I have the device simulator opened. So I'm going to click on play. And here, as you can see, we have multiple balloons coming here. So if we click on this balloon, as you can see, the audio will get played and the score will get incremented. And if I go ahead and miss any of these balloons, you will see automatically the level will get reset. As you can see, the score is 0 and the level starts from the beginning. So I can go ahead and tap the balloons and increment the scores. And if I go ahead and miss any balloon, automatically the level will get reset. Okay, now in the video, I'll show you how to build the simpler version of this game and also a more complex version of this game with multiple balloons as well. Okay, so I hope you're ready to build a game like this. So let's get started. Now we're going to build it for Android, but this is optional. This game works on desktop and other platforms as well. So with that being said, let's get started. So as you can see here, I have an empty 2D project opened. So if you don't know how to do that, you can check out my other tutorials. So here I have an empty 2D Unity project opened. So now what I'm going to do is, as you can see, I am in the 2x3 layout. So from the layout, I'm going to choose 2x3. So this is the layout that I'm going to use for this course. And then from the scenes folder, as you can see, we already have a scene created. I'm going to go ahead and rename this scene to GAME game. All right, so this is our game scene. So now, as you can see, inside the assets folder, I have few folders created. Here we have a sprites folder, inside which I have only one sprite, and here I have only one balloon sprite. And inside the audio folder, I have one simple balloon popping audio. I have downloaded these things for free from the internet, so you can go ahead and download them for free from the internet, or you can use these ones or any other one as well. So as you can see here, I have a balloon popping sound which plays whenever I play here. And this one I have downloaded from pixabay.com. And the sprite, this balloon sprite, there are many free balloon sprites available on the internet, but I have downloaded it from this one from gamedeveloperstudio.com. This is a great website to download free assets, so you can go ahead and download this. And thank you so much, Game Developer Studio, for providing these free balloons for game building. And from the Pixabay, I have downloaded this audio. Okay, so with that done, now let's go and start building the game. All right, so now that we have our assets ready, let's go to File, Build Settings, and select Android, then click on Switch Platform. Now, if you are not going to build this game for Android, then you can simply build it for Windows, Mac, and Linux. This game will work on this platform as well. But in this case, I'm going to specifically build it for Android, so I'm switching to Android. So it's optional. You can either switch it or keep it to Windows, Mac, Linux. So select Android, click on Switch Platform, and wait for Unity to switch the platform to Android. Alright, so now as you can see, our current platform has been switched to Android. So with that done, now let's close this window. And from here, as you can see, from the resolution, free aspect is selected. From here, we're going to go ahead and select this 16:9 portrait. So this is the resolution that you're going to use for building this game. Okay, so now with that done, our next step is to select the main camera. Go to clear flags, make sure this solid color is selected, and from the background you can give it any other color. Here I'm gonna give it a sky blue like color because I'm creating it like a sky. If you want, you can also give it a yellow or orange or whatever color you prefer. So in this case, I'm gonna give it a sky like color so that it looks like sky. So something like this should look good. All right. So with that done, our background is ready, and here as you can see inside the sprites folder we have our balloon. So it's time to import our balloon. So let's go ahead and save the scene by pressing Ctrl S. Now I'm gonna drag and drop the balloon right here, and as you can see it looks pretty big. So first of all, let's go ahead and rename this one to balloon. Okay, so now I'm gonna select this balloon sprite from here, And for the pixels per units, let's change it to 500 so that the balloon becomes small automatically. So let's set it to 500, set the max size to around 256. And now if I click on apply, you will see the balloon will automatically become smaller. Okay, so now it looks pretty good for our game. So I can double click to focus on the balloon. So this is the balloon right here. Now I'm going to go to add component, physics 2D, and I'm going to add a rigid body 2D to balloon. So let's select this rigid body 2D. All right. And now as you can see here, we have a gravity scale that is set to 1. So I'm going to go ahead and set the gravity scale to 0 because we don't want our balloon to be affected by gravity and fall down. We want our balloon to go up. So that is why we're setting the gravity scale to 0. Now we're going to go to add component, physics 2D, and this time I'm going to go to this circle collider 2D. Okay, so now our balloon has a circle collider, and this adding a collider is must, otherwise we cannot touch or pop the balloons. Okay, and now from the radius I'm going to make it a little bit smaller, something like this. I think something like this should be realistic for this balloon's collider. Let's set it to about 0.3. I think something like this is perfect. Okay. So now whenever we tap within this collider, the balloon will automatically detect collisions and then it will burst. Okay. So with that done, now I'm going to go to add component, and now we're going to add an audio source component to the balloon so that we can play audio whenever the balloon gets popped. So we're going to go to add component, audio, and from here I'm going to go ahead and add an audio source component. All right. So now this balloon had an audio source component, and as you can see here, we have something called an audio clip. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this audio folder where I have this audio already imported. So you can go ahead and download any pop sound or any kind of sound from the internet and put it inside the audio and drag and drop it inside this audio clip slot. Okay. So now this balloon pop sound is in the audio clip of this audio source component that is attached to the balloon. And make sure this play on awake is not checked, because if this play on awake is checked, that means whenever the game starts, this will play. But that's not what we want. We want this audio to be played only when the balloon is popped. Okay, so for that, play on awake should be disabled, and now the balloon is ready. Okay, so the last thing we need to do is we need to go to this scripts folder, right click, and create a new C# script which will control the behavior of our balloon. So let's go and create a new C# script, and I'm going to name this one balloon, or let's say make it balloon controller. You can name it anything that you want. In this case, I'm naming it balloon controller. So now I'm going to select my balloon and drag and drop the balloon controller over this balloon right here. Alright, so here we have the balloon controller script. So now let's try to understand what do we want to do with this balloon. So let's select the move tool. So in the beginning, the balloon will be right here, out of the screen. Whenever the game starts, the balloon will slowly go up, up, up like this. And while it is in our game view, if we tap it and pop the balloon, then the balloon will go down again, and from here it will start floating again from a random position. So if it goes here, and if I pop it like this, it will go down, go to a random position, and from there it will come up again. Again, if I pop it, it will go down, go to a random position, and from there it will come up again. So every time I pop the balloon, it will go down, and from there it will come again. And if I miss popping the balloon, that means if I somehow missed tapping the balloon, then the balloon will go up and it will go out of the screen, and then our game will be over and the scene will be restarted. Okay. So every time I pop a balloon, our score will be incremented, and if I miss popping any balloon, then our game will be over and the scene will be restarted, or the level will restart again. Okay, so that's how the balloon pop game will work in this case. Okay, so with that done, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the balloon controller script. So let's double click to open it up in Visual Studio. Alright, so here we have our balloon script opened. So first of all, what we're going to do is, here we're going to create a new variable which will be public float speed. So this will be the speed by which the balloon will move up. You can also name it up speed, so for better understanding. So let's name it up speed. So this will be the speed by which the balloon will move upwards. All right, then we need another variable which will be int score, which will be 0 by default. Later on we're going to change this score and make it much bigger than how it is. All right, so we have up speed and we have score as well. Then again we need a reference to the audio source component that we have attached to the balloon, and by using the audio source we can actually play audio. So here we're going to say audio source AS, not AS, A is a wrong name, audio source, and in small we're going to write audio source. Okay, and here we are creating a new variable of type audio source, and then inside the awake function, void awake, we're gonna get access to the audio source that is attached to this balloon. So you're gonna say audio source equals get component audio source. So here what we are doing is, as you can see, as you have seen, we have already added an audio source component to this balloon. Now here we are creating a variable named audio source which can hold an audio source, and here we are saying give us access to the audio source component that we have attached inside this audio source variable. So now we can play audio or do anything with the audio source by using this audio source variable. Okay, I hope that's clear, and I think we don't need start, so for now we're going to delete this function, and now we're going to come up here and come to our fixed update function. So we're going to create void fixed update. So inside the fixed update function, what you're going to do is we're going to make the balloon go up. For that, we're going to use a simple transform.translate function. Translate. Okay, so using the transform.translate function, we're going to make our balloon go up. Okay, and to make it go up, what we need to do is for the x, we need to make it 0 because we don't want it to move in the x direction. But for the y, we're going to make it move by speed value or up speed value, and for the z we're going to put it 0 as well. Okay, so just by using this transform.translate function, we're going to move our balloon upwards by this up speed value using this fixed update function. So automatically every frame the balloon will slowly go up. Okay, so now that we have made the balloon move up, now what we need to do is we need to detect whether we are tapping on the balloon or whether we are clicking on the balloon or touching on the balloon. For that, there's a very easy function to use. For that, we're going to use void on mouse down. And this function is very powerful. Just by using this function, we can detect mouse clicks, touch clicks, taps, and everything. So whenever you tap on the game object, it doesn't matter you tap it with mouse or you tap it with your fingers or whatever, in touch devices you tap it, every time it will get detected. Okay, so whenever we tap our balloon with touches or our mouse, what we're gonna do is we're gonna destroy the balloon object. Okay, but in this case we're not going to actually destroy, we're actually going to change its position and put it down to a random position so that it can come up again. And every time we tap the balloon, we want to actually increment the score. Okay, so we're going to say score plus plus. So if you remember, here we have a 0 value given to the score. So every time we tap a balloon, our score will be incremented. And after that, we want to reset the position of the mouse. So for that, what you're going to do is here we're going to create another new function which will be void reset, not reset, void reset position. Void reset position. Okay, so this is the reset position function that we're going to use to reset the position of our mouse. All right, but before that, let's go and test how this thing is working, whether our balloon is going up or not. Let's go and test it. And every time we tap on the mouse, as you can see here, we are incrementing the score value. Along with that, let's go and play the audio so that we can check if we are clicking on the mouse or not. So what you're going to do is here we're going to simply say audio source dot play, and that's it. So whenever we say audio source dot play, what it will do is whatever audio clip we have attached to the audio source, that default clip will be played. And in this case, we have already attached the balloon pop sound, so the balloon pop sound will get played whenever we tap our mouse on the balloon. All right, so let's go and click on save and go back to Unity. Alright, so now if I select our balloon, as you can see here inside the balloon controller, we have this up speed variable. So what you're going to do is, let's go and give it a very small value. Let's say 0.2 or something. Let's say 0.2. You can go ahead and experiment with different values and see whatever is suitable for you. And next, go ahead and put the balloon down. And now if I go ahead and click on play, you will see the balloon will go up, and it is going up very fast, so it's hard to click for us. So let's go and give it a much lower value. Let's say 0.05 or something like that. And now if I click on play, let's see how it goes. Now it's good. And if I click on it, as you can see, every time I click on it, the audio is played. And that is because in the balloon's audio source component, we already have this balloon pop sound. So whenever the balloon goes up, we click it, and as you can see, the audio gets played. So now what you're going to do is, whenever we click or tap on the balloon, what we want to do is, we want to reset the position of the balloon to the bottom to a random X position. So its Y position will be same. Let's say the balloon is going up. We click it, it will come down and go to a random X position. Then from there it will go up again. Then we click it, it will go down, and then it will go to another random X position again. And from there it will go up again. Okay. And if we miss touching the balloon and the balloon goes beyond this, let's say the balloon goes this point, as you can see currently the balloon's value is about 6.36. So let's say whenever the balloon goes beyond 7, the value of balloon's Y position goes above 7. At that time, we want to say that game over happens, and we will reload the game or reset the level. Okay. So with that said, let's go and reset the balloon to somewhere like this, to its correct position, and then we can go ahead and start coding. So in the code, now what you need to do is, every time we tap on the balloon, we need to reset its position and also increment the score. Okay, so let's go and do that. So let's go and open up the balloon controller script. Where is that? Let's go and open up the balloon controller script. Here it is. All right. So now inside the reset position, what you're going to do is, first of all, we're going to create a random X position. So we're going to say float random X equals random.range. And what is the range? Let's go and find out. Let's go back to Unity. And if you take a look at the balloon, as you can see, this is the range of the balloon. As you can see, if we take a look at the position, currently it is a 0. And if I move it to the extreme left, the X value will be minus 2.5. And if we move it to the extreme right, the X value will be positive 2.5. So what you're going to do is, every time the balloon goes down, we want to actually reset its value to a random X position between negative 2.5 and positive 2.5. So the balloon will be spawned anywhere between here in this range. Okay. All right. So let's go and open up the script one more time. Let's just collapse the audio source. Let's open up the balloon controller one more time. And the random.range, the minimum value will be minus 2.5f. And the maximum value will be 2.5f. Now if you want, you don't need to hard code these values. You can create a new variable and there set the value, but here I'm just hard coding it so for quick doing. Okay, so with that done, now that's done, now the balloon will be reset to this random position. We have created a random X position. Now we need to set the balloon's X position to this random X position and set the balloon's Y position to the bottom Y position. Okay, so let's go and create another new variable, or we can do it without creating a variable as well. So here we're gonna say transform.position equals new vector3, or you can also do vector2 as well, because this is a 2D game, so the third position or the Z position will be automatically distracted, or automatically it will be omitted whenever we create a vector2. So for the X, we'll give random X, and for the Y, let's give minus 7f. Okay, so as you can see, whenever the balloon goes beyond minus 7f, it already goes outside of our screen to the bottom. You can go ahead and test it and give whatever value is suitable for your game. Or you can also create a new variable which will actually check how much you can actually give the value of the y. So in this case, I'm simply giving minus 7f. In your case, you might give it minus 9f, minus 10f, depending on or your screen size or whatever game you are building. All right. So now here in the reset position, we are simply creating a random x value, and then we are setting the balloon's x position to the random x value, and we are putting its y position to the 7f. That means it will go outside of a screen below the game view. Now, whenever on mouse down happens, just after playing the audio, we need to simply reset position. So reset position. That's it. So now whenever we click or tap on our balloon, what will happen is the audio will be played and the balloon will reset its position. Okay. So now it should work. So let's go and save this, go back to Unity and check what's working and what's not. So let's go back to Unity. All right. So here we are back inside Unity. Here we have our balloon and here we have our balloon script. And now let's go ahead and put the balloon to bottom of the screen and set its x position to 0. And now let's go and click on play, and you will see the balloon will go up, and every time I click on it, as you can see, it is going down. And every time I click on it, as you can see, a random position is created, and from there balloon is getting up again. So every time we touch it, it is getting spawned from a random x position and it is going below the screen. As you can see here, every time I do it, it goes beyond. So now what we need to do is whenever we actually click on the balloon, we want to show the score here. So in the beginning it will be 0, then it will be 1, 2, 3, and just like that. And whenever the balloon goes out of the screen, we want to reset or reload this level. Okay, so these are the two things that we need to do to finish this game. So let's go and do that. So first of all, we need to create a score text here, which we can show up. So for that, I'm going to go here, go to UI and click on Text Mesh Pro Text. So let's click on that and let's click on Import TMP Essentials, and it will import the Text Mesh Pro and create a new UI text for us. All right, so as you can see, a new UI text has been created. So let's go and close this window. Now select this text, and from here, let's go and reset its position. Now, as you can see, it is at the center. Now we need to select the canvas and change its UI scale mode to scale with screen size. Change the reference resolution to 1920, not 1920. This is a portrait game, so we're gonna set it to 1080 by 1920, and then we're gonna set the match value to 0.5. Okay. So this is the reference resolution which we are working here. Then we're going to select our text. You can go ahead and double click on it. Then we're going to select the rect tool and change its size to much bigger value than what we have here. So let's go and change it and make it much bigger, something like this. Then you can simply rotate your mouse wheel to zoom out, and then you're gonna drag it like here. Now we're gonna select the text and change its alignment to the center horizontally and center vertically as well. So now as you can see, it is at the center. Now let's go ahead and change the text to 0 because in the beginning the scores value will be 0. Now let's go ahead and change the font size and make it much bigger than what we have here. So let's go and make it bigger. Let's set it to about 300. I think something like 300 should be good. Okay, so I think something like 300 should be good. So if you want, you can also make it bigger than this one, but I think this one looks pretty good. And then I'm going to simply go ahead and set it to the correct position wherever I feel it is correct. Okay. So if you want, you can also make it much bigger than that. I think 300 should be good for us. So let it to 300. And then I'm going to go to this vertex color and change the alpha value and make it a little bit downer. Something like this, just because I like this. This is personal preference. If you want, you can also change the color to yellow or something like that, or red. But I think I'm going to give it to white. Okay, so let's check it. Whenever the score will be incremented, this 0 will be 1, it will be 2, it will be 10, it will be 20 or something like that. So in the beginning, it will be 0. All right, so now our score text is ready and our canvas is ready. Let's go and rename this one to score text. Score text. Okay, so here we have our canvas, here we have our score text, here we have our balloon. So now what we need to do is every time we tap on the balloon, we need to actually increment the score value and show it on the screen. And whenever the balloon goes up beyond the boundaries, that means whenever the balloon goes more than Y position of 7, as you can see, if I select the balloon and double click it, it is currently here and its Y position is -6. If I go ahead and upwards, and as you can see, whenever it goes beyond 7, it already goes out of the screen. So whenever the Y position of the balloon will be more than 7, then we're going to restart or reload the level so that the player can start playing again. Alright, so with that done, let's reset the balloon's position and set it to the bottom right here. Now let's go and save it. Now we're going to go and open up the balloon controller one more time. So let's double click to open the balloon controller. Alright, so now here what we need to do is we need to actually show up the score. And in order to show up the score, we need to use the UI elements. And in this case, we need to use the Text Mesh Pro UI elements. So for that, here we need to import a namespace. We need to write using TM Pro. So now we can use all the functions from the Text Mesh Pro library. And here we're going to create another new variable, which will be public Text Mesh Pro UGUI score text. Alright, so this will hold the value of our score text. Okay, so now whenever we are incrementing the value of score, just after this, we're going to say score text dot text equals score text dot text equals score dot toString. So let's go and understand what this is. So this score text is the text that we have created in the game. And this text is the text component of the score text UI. So whenever we put 0 to this score value, so this text value, this score text will show 0. So that is why what we're doing is, as you can see here, we're incrementing the score values. In the beginning, this will be 0. So that is why 0 is shown in the score text, in the UI score text as well. So whenever it is incremented, automatically we want to convert this score to a string, because as you can see, this one is an integer. So we are converting it to a string, and then we are setting the string to the value of our score text UI that we have in the game. So now whenever the score will be incremented, automatically the UI text score will also be changed to the same value. So if it is 1, 1 will be shown on the screen. If it is 2, 2 will be shown on the screen. Okay, so with that done, now our score text will be updated in the screen. Now the next thing we need to do is we need to check if our Y position of the balloon is beyond 7, then we're gonna reload the level or reset the level. Okay, for that we're gonna come to the update function and we're gonna check if transform.position.y is greater than 7f. That means if the Y position of the balloon is beyond 7, that means it has already gone out of the screen, then we're going to reset the level or reload the level. And in order to reset the level or reload the level, we need to use another namespace in Unity. So here we need to write using Unity engine.scene management. Okay, so just by writing this, now we can use all the functions related to scene loading and all that stuff. So here we need to say scene manager dot load scene, and within that, just by writing quotations, we can simply write game, and this will work. So as you can see here, in this case, we have renamed our scene to game. So whenever we write this, the game scene will be loaded again so that our player can start playing it again. Now there's another way to do it, and in this case I'm going to show it to you as well. So let's go and comment this one out. So just instead of writing this game level separately, so you can also write scene manager dot load scene, and instead of referencing a string name or name of a scene separately, so you can also say scene manager dot get active scene dot build index. Get active scene is a function, so get active scene, and then we're gonna write a dot and we're gonna say build index. Okay, So this one is a generic code that will work for any level that you create. This code will work for only this level if you have named it game. But let's say in your case, in your game you have multiple levels. So in that case, you don't need to write game 1, game 2, all that separately. You can simply write this code, and this code will work for any level, doesn't matter whatever name it has. So here what we are saying is, we are loading the scene at a particular index. And here we are saying, just give us the active scene, get the index where it is, and load that level. Okay? So if we are currently at the scene which has a build index of 0, then the 0th scene will be loaded. If we are at a scene where the build index is 1, then the 1 number scene will be loaded. Okay, so this is a generic code that will work for any level, doesn't matter whatever you have named it. So if you are thinking that this one is simple to use, you can use this one, or if you want to use a more generic code that will work for everywhere, you can use this code as well. Okay, so with that done, now everything should work. Here we are making the balloon go up. Here we are detecting taps or touches or clicks to the balloon. Whenever we tap on the balloon, we are incrementing the score, displaying it on the screen, playing the audio, resetting its position to a random position, and then whenever the balloon goes beyond 7, we're going to reload the level. Okay, so with that done, I think everything should work right. Let's go and save it and go back to Unity and test our game. So let's go and save it, go back to Unity. Alright, so let's go and test it and check how the game is working. So as you can see, here we have this, if you select the balloon, here we have the balloon controller script, and here it is waiting for a score text reference. So here we're gonna drag and drop our score text, because otherwise it will not update the score text and it will give us an error. So we are dragging and dropping the score text here. So now if I go ahead and click on play, now the balloon will go up. If I tap it, if I try to tap it, as you can see, every time I tap it, the score will be incremented, and if I tap it again, the score will be incremented. And whenever the balloon goes outside of our boundaries, let's see, as you can see, automatically the scene gets reloaded because we see 0 here now. So 1, 2, let's try to do it one more time, 3, 4, and if I miss any balloon, if it goes up, let's say if the balloon goes up and we miss it, automatically the scene will be reloaded and we will start from 0 again. So this is how the whole game is working. Okay, so the whole gameplay is working. Now there are many things that you can do here. Before saying that, let's go and test it on a mobile simulator, so to see how this one is working there. So I can go to Window, General, and Device Simulator. So here we have the device simulator. So if you want, you can also test it on the iPad, or if you want, you can also test it on Android phone as well. So this time let's go and try to test it on iPad, so see how this one is working. So let's click on play, and you will see the balloons will come one by one. So the first balloon comes, I tap it, the sound plays. Hope you are able to hear the audio, and every time I do it, the score gets incremented. And as you can see, the score gets incremented, and whenever the balloon goes outside of our boundaries, as you can see, automatically the game will get over. Okay, so now let's try it on Google Pixel 5 as well. So this is the Google Pixel 5. Let's try to play it here. Click on play. Here the balloon goes up. I tap it and the score gets incremented, and this way I can go ahead and keep playing the game. And whenever I miss a balloon, let's say whenever the balloon goes beyond the boundary, automatically the scene gets reloaded. So this is how the whole game is working. Now this game might be simple, very simple, but as you can see, you have learned so many concepts. You have learned how to move the balloon or any object upwards. You have learned how to detect collisions, taps, or touches. You have learned how to create a new score system where you can display your score and increment it. You have learned how to create a random position and spawn your object there. And you have also learned how to create the canvas, how to create the score UI, and all these things. So just by building this simple, cool game, you have learned so many different things. Okay. Now there are many things that you can add to make this game even better. So what you can do is, you can create, just like this balloon, you can go ahead and duplicate it and create another balloon which is of yellow color. You can create another balloon which is of green color. Now all the balloons will have the same script. So what will happen is, every time you tap a balloon, automatically it will go down, and from there it will go up again. So you will see multiple balloons coming here, and the game will be more challenging to do. Okay, so let me go ahead and demonstrate to you to show you what can be done. So let's go and duplicate this balloon for now. So I'm duplicating this balloon. I'm duplicating this balloon one more time. So for the second one, I'm putting it somewhere like this. And for the third one, I'm gonna put it somewhere like this. Okay, so this way, as you can see, we have multiple balloons now. So now what we need to do is we're going to select the second balloon. As you can see here, we have the score text already selected, and the third balloon as well, we have the score text already selected. So let's go and click on play, and you will see now the first balloon goes, the second balloon goes, the third balloon goes, and automatically, as you can see, multiple balloons are coming towards us. And this way you can create already a playing game. Okay, so let's go and test it on the device simulator as well, because I like playing it in the device simulator. So here we have the device simulator. Let's select Google Pixel 5 or any other device that you prefer. So now we are in the simulator. Now let's go and click on play. And you will see multiple balloons will come to us one by one. And every time I click it, the balloon will go down and the score will get incremented. And it doesn't matter where the balloon is. If I miss any balloon, automatically our game will get reset. Okay, so let's try missing some balloons, and whenever I miss some balloons, automatically the game will get reset. Okay, so this is how the game is working. Alright, you can go ahead and add some multiple colored balloons here as well, so to make the game look even cooler. And thank you so much for watching. This is Raja from Charger Games, and I'm going to see you in another video very soon.